In this week's episode of the BigFooty Blues Podcast, we discuss last week's NAB Cup game versus North Melbourne and the performance of some of our less experienced players. A new guest joins us just in time for a podcast bonding session.
Shirts off. Party time.
And what on earth happened to the Wookie? All this and more coming right up.
Listen up, ladies and gentlemen. Our fugitive has been on the run for 90 minutes. Average foot speed over uneven ground, barring injury, is 4 miles an hour. That gives us a radius of 6 miles. What I want out of each and every one of you is a hard target search of every gas station, residence, warehouse, farmhouse, hen house, outhouse, and doghouse in that area. Checkpoints go up at 15 miles. Your fugitive's name is... Go get him.
Welcome back for episode 2 of the BigFooty Blues Podcast. I'm the old Dark Navies. As you can tell, the Wookie is not with us at the moment. Apparently, he's been, he's taken into custody by the police. I'm not sure. We'll make up the stories as the night goes on, but we hope he joins us at the end. But joining me as usual, the usual suspects, we have the ever-present, omnipresent Happy Dude. How are you, Happy Dude?
I'm going alright so far.
Yeah, you sound very keen.
I am.
And she is the sunshine of our lives. It's MEB. How are you, Mabby?
Hey. I'm excited.
Oh, you're always excited.
I know.
Lift our spirits every week. And joining us for the first time, it's a big welcome to a new voice, and we're all really excited to have somebody that knows what they're talking about on the podcast. It's Shandog. How are you, Shandog?
Good, thank you. Hello to everyone and anyone listening. And I don't think that's probably a really accurate drum up of what I'm about to contribute to this conversation, but I'll try.
Do you know anything at all?
Who are we talking about again?
This is a Carlton podcast.
All right, we can go with that. We'll see how we go.
If you've got one useless fact, you're probably ahead of us.
All right, I'll start Googling.
Guys, the footy's back on.
Well, finally.
Oh, no, you're not,
I can't contain myself.
Now, as we saw, and no doubt what we're here to discuss today, on the weekend, on Saturday, Carlton, 1 super goal, 14 goals, 7 behinds, 100, defeated North Melbourne 14-9-93, as if there was any doubt. Does anybody have a highlight from that game?
The way the back line, especially at the end of the game, with only one player like Watson that played down there last season, beat pretty much full-strength North Melbourne forward line.
Yeah, it was good.
I was quite happy with that. And seeing Lindsay Thomas not get a win, because I really don't like that man.
No.
Yeah, he sucks.
So say all of us.
Yeah. He's a terrible person.
Maybe, did you like anything from the weekend?
I like Andreas Everett. He's lovely.
Did you like the way he played?
Oh, yeah, that too. No, I think it was great. I had so much fun watching a game that Gibbs and Murphy didn't have to win for us. I thought that was really enjoyable. And seeing Buckley do well just really warmed my heart because I have such high hopes for him. I just think it was really good to see some people that weren't either playing for us last year or weren't firing for us last year came out and made a little bit of a statement. They are fighting for their spot, which made me really happy.
Very good. And Shandog, what was your highlight?
Yeah, look, I think other than Bryce Gibbs looking like he was a bit of an 80s sort of jazzercise instructor. I hope he keeps it. That's all right. Now, I pretty much, I reckon I agree with Mrs. Eddie Betts there. I think it's that competition with those sort of fringe players, particularly Buckley, because, I mean, a lot of people, I think, were starting to question whether or not he was picking up his game well enough and was going to be able to make it at AFL level. And I probably was as well. But seeing the way he went about it then, played really hard, sort of uncompromising football, really went after it pretty ferociously. But the skills were there as well. So I thought that was really, really good. So as well as what Mrs. Eddie Betts said, Murph and Gibbs didn't win the game off their own boots for us. But I don't think that's anything to be concerned about, and it was probably a good thing, really.
No, I agree, and I'm probably going to just drop into line behind you too, because Buckley was clearly my biggest highlight. haven't seen a lot of them, not being based in Melbourne, so not getting out to the VFL games. And there was a thread on the BigFooty boards. It's been going for a while about Buckley having to come up with the goods this year, or he might be out the door. And he's
that's kind of a fair assessment too, though. But it's good to see that he's doing that, or it seems so anyway so far.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the thread's titled "The Clock is Ticking," and there's only a certain amount of time you can spend on an AFL list these days before you've got to show a little bit more. But he's got some physical development in him. He's looking a little bit bigger. I'm impressed with the skills and he had a one-handed pickup running out of defence with a burst of speed that just about knocked me off my chair.
That was pretty good.
Yeah. So, but like you say, it's all the lesser lights and how they really took it up to North.
I think the men's deserves a mention.
Oh yeah, I forgot him. How
Absolutely.
Can I forget?
Yeah, I was waiting for someone to bring him up.
He rules.
He's good. I'm looking forward to more of Menzel in the forward line and forward of centre while doing a run in the midfield or wing.
Yeah.
Do you know what made me super happy? Was seeing tackles stick.
Even Lucas tackled. I saw him tackle someone. It was great.
High five, Kane Lucas. Like, what are you doing, mate?
Yeah.
It was that really...
Handling the pressure too was good.
Yeah.
When they try to bring it up to us, we didn't start fumbling it all over the place and have stupid turnovers, which we've always done in the past. The team brings it up to us, we fumble it really badly and let them run into open goals when we don't need them to.
Yeah.
I think the skill levels did drop away a little bit towards the end of the game, but that was that's expected in a sort of pre-season format as well. But yeah, the only thing that could have made that game a little bit better was if we had have won by a point again against them.
Yes, and believe it or not, I actually know 3 North Melbourne supporters. I didn't even know there were 3, but I know 3 of them at work.
Are they members?
What do you think?
Yeah, exactly. North Melbourne supporters.
That's what I'm saying. So I was just I know you can't read too much into the pre-season, and I tried really hard to not get excited. And for the first 3 quarters, I was just in there like, pre-season, whatever, it's footy, how great. And that last few minutes, I actually started to get really, really into it, and I just really wanted to win.
Yeah, I was like, why do I care?
Yeah, same. I
was
like, February, why am I jumping up and down? But it was good. We might not get anything out of it apart from seeing the kids run around, but I think there was a lot of positives to take away from it.
Well, what did you guys think of? Sorry, Ian. What did you guys think of Rowe in the back line?
I like him there.
Yeah, it seems to go all right. Hopefully, he can improve.
Look, my initial impression was, it's a little bit of, it is a pre-season sort of a bit of a test for him, and it's not a role I'd like to see him in all the time. I didn't find him completely comfortable back there, but then I started having to think about it and realising that he's up against Petrie, who always does well against us, and he did well again. But it's not like Petrie caused any more damage than he usually does. So
I never noticed Petrie out smarting Rowe a whole lot, getting himself really far alone. Rowe was always with him.
Yeah.
Still,
he out-muscled him and out-positioned him in contests and took marks and stuff. But that's what Petrie does because he's
classy.
Good, but he was never
he's a good forward.
But he was never alone. Rowe was always right with him.
Yeah, and I guess that's all you can argue. He did have 16 disposals, 6 marks, 4 goals, so it's a decent day out for Petrie. But he does it every time he plays, us, pretty much lately. So on that score, and considering it was Watson and Rowe, not Jamison, Henderson down there to help him out either. You sort of got to give him a bit of a pass mark for that, and it does show. Petrie's pretty good on the lead, and we were worried about Rowe being quick enough if he was to go back into the back line as a key defender. But he wasn't trailing him by that much, even when Petrie was getting out in front. So, maybe it's a spot for him. But maybe we can work with Watson, Rowe, and Jamo down there at times. Maybe free Jamo out, not to have to play the fullback role, but to get out into one of the pockets and come across and help out more like because he gets beaten up. Jamison every year or every game he gets beaten up and he's clutching at his shoulder after the first play and stuff. So maybe we can actually relieve his workload a little bit by having Rowe pinch hit a little bit. So there's options.
It definitely seems
Isn't
like
that amazing?
it seems like Mick is definitely going for that. Malthouse, that is. He's going for that ability to rotate people through all sorts of key positions. I mean, we've brought in Everett. We've got Rowe playing in the back line now. We've got Cripps, who's going to eventually come through. Who looks like he'd be able to play anyway. He's probably going to be the ruckman by the end of it. So I think that versatility is what they're definitely after. And I hope Rowe can get up because I've got a bit of a soft spot for him to come back from cancer and all that sort of thing, obviously. So I hope he does well.
I think it's just so nice to be able to breathe a little bit and think we actually have some depth for once.
Yeah, absolutely, no doubt about that. So it seemed Everett and Walker were sort of rotating a little bit because I saw it. Everett was spent a bit of time down the back line and he did some good things there as well. And I noticed Walker had gone forward at one stage. So similar sort of heights, similar sort of athleticism, and it's a nice. It's a nice little bonus to have in the side if you can get two players that can just rotate seamlessly between the forward line and back line. So
yeah.
I also noticed that North Melbourne had a fair few more possessions than us. The disposal count, they were well up in some of those stats. Now, my first thought was, were we just that much more efficient with the ball? Did anyone sort of...
I'm a firm believer, and I'm usually talking about this on the boards throughout the season. A lot of posters and people even that I talk to on the street say that when you get beaten badly by a possession count, that's a bad sign, and I don't necessarily think that's true. A prime example, that first one that comes to mind, is Richmond last year. Really overused the ball a lot. They always outnumbered their opponents with possessions, and I always found that was coming out the back line. They'd hit about the half back, and then they'd hand pass around in circles a bit and overuse the ball, which can then result in a lot of pressure turnovers when something doesn't go right, and then other teams can stream into open goals and all that. I thought North Melbourne was doing something similar when they got about halfway up the ground or towards their forward 50 arc. They weren't just trying to drill it straight in. They were getting just out of the 50 and starting to overuse it a lot, which is a bad thing, and it's it's a time when overusing the ball can have a negative effect, and having too many possessions is counterproductive to your end result of getting score on the board.
Yeah, I think it's the old, there's lies, there's damn lies, and then there's statistics. So, you might have a million possessions, but whether or not they're useful, and whether or not that's the style you're trying to go for as well.
I think disposal efficiency is the important one.
Disposal efficiency is much more important, but at the end of the day, the most important stat is the score on the board. And if
So true.
If you're taking more marks than anyone, doing more hand passes than anyone, and kicking,
doing all the things.
Yeah, doing tackling more than anyone else, but you're not winning games, you're not going to win a premiership.
Good news on that one, Karcher and Rowe, 100% disposal efficiency from that game.
How many disposals?
Oh, they're probably only about 4 or 5. No, I think Rowe had 9 or 10. And
how did Warnock do? Did he have his, because Wookie's not here, so did he have his beanpole, I'm going to tap out the ruck and sit down for the rest of the game?
Warnock had 29 hit-outs, 4 disposals, 64% time on ground, and just for Wookie's benefit, in the Richmond game, Hansen had 6 disposals, 14 hit-outs, and only 44% time on ground. So it's much of a muchness. I did think Warnock, he looked a little bit quicker and able to get to contests. He just looked a little bit better in that area around the ground for me, despite the fact he didn't get a lot of the ball. He was willing himself to contest, and I thought Cameron Wood did a fairly decent job coming in as a backup.
Yeah, he did. I got a Wookie update for everyone. It seems between Wookie and the police there may be a strip search involved. The police don't think it's going to be totally necessary, but he's insisting.
Yeah. Take your time, officer.
That is the creepiest thing I've ever heard. I'm not sleeping tonight.
Trust me, if you'd seen him, you'd be even more scared.
Oh my god.
No, that is not mohair underwear I'm wearing.
Think of Eddie Betts. Think of Eddie Betts. Think of Eddie Betts.
I've got a million jokes involving a police baton going around my head, but I just don't want to go there.
No.
Don't.
No.
And do it.
Just if I want to name a trio here, and sort of, particularly against the North game, but how we think how important they're going to be this year, and whether that's sort of the change in style we're going for. Tommy Bell, Acacia, and Robinson, aka the Bash Brothers. I mean, they were everywhere on Saturday.
Bell was amazing.
Yeah.
And there's that one beautiful moment where Bell and Robinson have both tackled the same North Melbourne player and stripped the ball straight out of his hands and gone on straight for a goal. It was brilliant.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
Was good.
Yeah, well, Bell and Acacia are the tackle machines. They had about 18 tackles between them, and Robbo doesn't do so much of the tackle as more. Robbo goes for the ball, so
throws himself in.
He's the contested possession king there.
He has no regard for his own safety, like none.
Yeah,
at all.
That's true.
It's amazing. I mean, none. I can't. Sometimes when I watch it, I'm like, is he all there? I'm not trying to be big. He just doesn't even think about anything apart from see ball, get ball.
I think I cringe on their behalf when I see them steaming in somewhere.
Absolutely.
I do the flinching for them.
Yeah, and I cringe on the opposition player's behalf when I see Tom Bell running to grab somebody. That would scare the absolute pants off me.
I remember a game a couple of years ago, I think it was against Brisbane at Etihad, when Mitch ran head first in and smashed his head with another Brisbane player, and then he was down on the ground for a good couple of seconds, and the trainers ran out to him to bring him off, and he ran away from the trainers to go chase the ball again, and smashed his head a second time.
That's
so had to take him off and do the concussion test.
It's made of a turtle shell or something.
Yeah, and then he was back out again.
It's crazy.
Another thing we were sweating on, I guess, at the start of the season is whether Matthew Watson can step up and take a key defensive post and allow Henderson to go forward a little bit. And I reckon Watto stood up on Saturday. He sort of he lost a little bit towards the end, but they all did. They all sort of started faltering towards the end. But he was a little bit of a colossus in his body on body work and his reading of the play, and he seems to have added a yard of pace.
Yeah, he's seems to have lost all his puppy fat as well. He seems a lot more toned and built more like a sort of gorilla type defender that he could become. Obviously, if he steps up in that post, he just looks more physically ready for the role that is about to be pushed on him. Yeah,
I went to our VFL game against the Essendon VFL side last year, and he was pretty deplorable. We got smashed that day, and it's like he's done a complete 180 from. Then he kind of looked a little bit lazy last year in some patches, I know I'm slow, so I'm not really going to bother plodding after anybody. I think he's turned it around. I'm excited to see him. Yeah, he was always very lackluster in VFL games that I've seen. Yeah. He's it's like he just doesn't really. He's doesn't not go invested in it. Yeah, he doesn't, knock the door down to selection by overwhelming performances in the VFL level. He just sort of gets there and doesn't want to injure himself, it seems. Yeah.
He's got a bit of a laconic sort of nature.
Yeah. We got a few of those players that look like they're sort of not working that hard, but they're probably working harder than you think. Yeah, well, there might be, Yaron's not always working hard, but he is probably working harder than people give him credit for. But it's just a little bit of intensity coming into Watson's game, which is good to see. And it's something that we're hoping to see in Bootsma, because the kid does have talent, but he really, doesn't show that he's hungry sometimes. So I don't know whether he's just got that same sort of laconic look about him. But he's got a fair few fans on the board, and he's a very polarising figure. So people seem to either love him or hate him.
I'm not sold on him.
No,
I don't think... I cringe when he's near the ball. I don't know. I know that's horrible, and I hate to be negative about any of our players, but I just feel like, what are you doing there? I just don't see it.
Yeah. There's a school of thought that we should be playing players like that because they're going to be the better for it in the long run, but we also want to be winning games in the short term, so we don't want to be taking too many risks to develop players when we do have depth that can get the job done. So he's got to earn that spot.
I don't think you can play McInnes and Bootsma in the same team as well, really. For that same reason, we'd want to, so that we could get games in them. And at the moment, I'd sort of really like the look of McInnes a bit more than Bootsma, but it may be, I'm not too sure, because his game on against North wasn't particularly fantastic. He got in amongst it a little bit and did a couple of good things, but it seemed both of them were just a bit lost the whole game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I agree.
McInnes has struggled a little bit since he came back from injury late last year. In my view, he seems to have lost a yard, and which can be critical. But time will tell with him. Anything else that stood out from the game you guys want to discuss, or shall we move on?
Yeah, I think we should
move on.
Move on. There's not much else happening, I don't think.
News around the club. Andrew Walker has re-signed for 3 years. That's the first one of our free agents checked off.
Holy mackerel.
Yeah.
That is jig-worthy news.
Don't break your elbow.
Hey.
That's elbow breaking good.
Yeah, that I would happily break my elbow for this.
Look, Walks is probably my favourite player at the club at the moment, and he was the one of our free agents I thought might have been most likely to go, just because he almost went a couple of years ago when in Ratton's last year, before Ratton's last season. So he'd shown some sort of sign that he was more about being the best footballer he can be than being the club player, but I couldn't be happier. He's basically a Blue for life now, and I also saw some news today about Murphy's basically said that he's a done deal, which we expected.
Yeah, I didn't think that was going to be too much of a worry, to be honest.
No.
He said on the radio that Adelaide's wasting their time if they're sniffing after Gibbs.
Yeah, everyone seems to be saying that.
great.
Yeah, the word around is that Gibbs is pretty close too.
He said on I know I posted this, but he said on the family day, he's like, I want to be a one club player, I want to get the deal done. So I know, there's a lot of talk and stuff that people say, and then at the end of the year it might turn around and not be the case. But normally they, I guess, tend to deflect more than that. Yeah,
and they try and put contract talks on hold.
Yeah.
Not, I want to get it done.
Yeah. Or say nothing at all.
That is such a credit to these guys. They know how much having unsigned key players throughout a season can disrupt a side because of all the media speculation and all the fans worried about it and stuff like that. They just seem to be saying, we don't want it to be an issue this year. We're gonna sign these contracts as ASAP, so we can move on and focus on the year ahead. So I hope they all. Who else we got? We've got Jamison. That's Gibbs and Jamison, the most notable. But
surely Jamo wouldn't go anywhere.
We've got a couple of others, though, don't we? Yeah. A couple of others that need to sign, but
Jamo, Scotland, I think is meant to be one, but that's whether or not he goes around again. I don't think he will.
Scotland's only a rookie. He's got his own stripes. He can't go chasing contracts.
Yeah, too old list.
Yeah.
If he was really interested in chasing
contracts,
he wouldn't have been a rookie.
Yeah.
Mm.
No, you're not going to.
I'm just glad that we're not going to be in a sort of a position like Melbourne is at the moment, where you got Danny Frawley all over the newspapers and online saying. Sorry, it was James Frawley saying, I'm not sure what's going on with the coaching, and so I'm not signing on again. And that sort of cuts. It's not just what's happening on the field, then that's cutting into the whole sort of structure of the club and where it's going as a direction as well. So to hearing this great news about our star players who are in doubt as free agents, all the positive information coming back saying that they're going to sign on, or already having in the case of Walks, is just brilliant.
Yeah.
So, Mab, you went to the family day on Sunday.
I did, yeah.
Did anyone else go?
A couple of people went, I think.
Either of the guys, the other guys on the podcast?
I'd be worried if there was anyone that showed up.
Oh, she would love it. She'd be in an element if she was the only one there.
I'd be worried. I'd be like, shirts off. Party time.
So,
shit. I was doing really well. Can you edit that out, please?
So there was a pretty good turnout. Was it? What was the?
I think it was less than last year. I think. And it wasn't. The weather was so much better, so I don't know why. Last year was disgusting. It was like 38 degrees and feral. There's not actually that much there. I really went because I like to see the Guernseys being handed out, and I like to hear like the coach's address and stuff. Sticks presented Murph with his life membership, which is a bit cute. And Brock McLean has like a compression bandage on his knee. Don't know what that's about. But apart from that, nothing too exciting. I bought a really cool print, but it hasn't arrived yet. It's a bit shattered.
Yeah, you gotta put up a photo of that shit.
What was the membership tent like? Were there a bit
of... Oh, they were packed.
Oh, great.
They were packed. And I didn't know,
40,
but...
I think.
Yeah, we cracked 40 on Family Day, a woman who's been a member since 1956. So that's pretty incredible. I didn't know. I walked up to the membership tent because I wanted to buy Papa Meb, like a cap and shirt combo. And I walked up and a freaking Rose sitting there. And I was like, oh my God. And then I was so embarrassed, I couldn't say anything to him. I had to wait for someone who wasn't a footy player to be free so I could ask them my question. It was really embarrassing. Shut up.
What? You were going to ask them an embarrassing question?
No, I was just going to ask him, like, oh, so these caps and shirts, blah, blah, blah. And I ask a question, I was like, what if he doesn't know the answer? And then he has to go and get someone, and then it's awkward, and then I have to make small talk while I'm waiting for someone to come and help. So, yeah. He smiled at me and I was like, good game, and that was it. So I think I can cross Roe off my list of potential husbands.
Well, I was going to say the second situation that actually happened sounds more awkward than the potential of asking him a question and having him go ask someone else.
That's easy for you to say.
It is.
You were the person in the hot seat, mate.
I used to drive to Carlton training after work when I lived in Melbourne every day and talk to them all. Yeah,
I know, but you're not someone who's like probably thinking that they're babes and you want to marry them all, so it's easier. And Sam Doherty wasn't there, so my plan of like making him love me was never going to happen. And Daisy wasn't there either, and one of the guys who was running one of the activities said that he was in hospital. So if that's true, hope he's okay.
Hope he's not dead.
Whoa. What?
He might be in the morgue.
I'm not going to respond because I don't know how.
Well, we haven't heard anything about it except for like he had that chest infection that he apparently got over. So who knows what's wrong with him? He could be like visiting, I don't know, kids.
Yeah, visiting friends.
Yeah, maybe he just likes the food in the cafeteria at the hospital. To the other extreme.
After a nurse.
Yeah.
So it was his ankle bone shattered and drove through his own chest and caused an infection. Obviously, I'm pretty sure there's a thread about that on the Collingwood board.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. He's at the hospital in the morgue because of ankle, like cause of death ankle, like. I mean, gangrene in this day and age, I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't even have to be that specific, just ankle. Like, that'd be good enough for all the toothless people to flap their gums about.
Yeah.
Coroner just nods and goes, understood.
Yeah. So, what's everyone thinking about our game coming up this Monday?
Against Adelaide. Now, look, I had to mention that there was a certain small forward for Adelaide that kicked 5 goals, was probably their best player.
Who's this guy? Why didn't we draft him?
I don't know. I figure we were close. I think he was. I think he might have been scared off by the passion of some of the fans. But
maybe when Wookie stops being frisked by police, he can go up and woo this small forward over the club.
Maybe.
Hey, maybe Wookie could put in a good word for me.
He can be your proxy.
He's too busy putting in a good word for himself to the police.
Oh, gosh.
He could walk up and plant a kiss on Eddie and say that was from Mab.
And just like rub him off the shoulder, like the size difference would be amazing.
You remember her? She's the one with 2 dozen number 19 jumpers that hangs over the fence at every Carlton game.
He could walk
up.
Gave
me 11.
Salivating.
Yeah, he could walk up with one of them baby cradles that people put their newborns in. They carry them around on their chest and just like walk up to Eddie and be like, "Get in!" Like I'll
Oh my
take
god,
Karen.
I would love to carry Eddie around all day. But do you know what I saw that actually comforted me a lot was a lot of number 19 Guernseys at Family Day. So I feel like I can still wear it.
I told you should. Or I do like Freddie Ann's suggestion of if there's no other 19 Guernseys, just break out the liquid paper, make it look really bitter that you've like changed the number on the back.
They're all
Well-
Cameron Giles fans, aren't they?
Yeah.
Well,
you
most
could
of
say
the
you
people
just...
wearing them... Sorry.
Don't be
No,
silly.
you go.
Most of the
No, I'm
people
sorry.
wearing them were... I'll go. Most of the people wearing them were like 9 and under. But, I mean, I can, pass the 9, I guess.
Right, well, okay. Anybody wearing a number 19 with a ponytail is a Brad Pearce fan. That strikes him off the list.
Yeah. Well, Brad Pearce.
Anybody into obscurity would be a Rowan Burke fan. Oh, that's enough of that. That's as many as I remember. So
But Monday night.
Yeah, is it going to be? Do we care about the result? What do we want to see out of it?
Yeah.
I want to see the kids stepping up again, or the ones that normally don't, sort of like that we saw step up against North Melbourne. I want to see them sort of put in another good, solid effort. Dylan Buckley again, try and back up his effort from the last game.
Supposed to be
Would
playing
be
on
good.
bets if he plays.
Yeah,
You better be gentle.
hopefully he towels him up. For Dylan Buckley's sake, for his career.
Yeah.
Oh no, don't pull that card.
Oh, look,
Why?
The greater good.
Well, what would you rather?
Oh, obviously Carlton.
Yeah, so Dylan Buckley can
I'm a
be
Carlton
bet.
member, I'm not an Eddie Betts member, but...
Yeah, I want to see maybe Murphy and Gibbs contribute a little bit more, but still not busting their hump out there because it's always still not full season. But maybe just slowly getting their work rate up.
well, missing from the team last weekend were Thomas, Judd, Cruiser, Simo, Scotland, Garlett, Jamo, Hendo, and Doherty, but a couple of those are still injured. But we might get a few of those back. Yeah, it would be good.
And it'd be good to see some guys like Tom Tomei or maybe the new Irish guys that we've got, Giles or Holman as well, getting in there and just seeing what where they're sort of at as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've had a late drop-in, fashionably late. It's Bluebell. Welcome to the end of the podcast, Bluebell.
Hello, guys. Sorry.
That's all right. Wookie didn't show up at all.
That's all right.
That's fine.
You weren't getting frisked in Adelaide with Wookie, were you?
Yeah, she's not requesting strip search from the cops like Wookie is.
No, it sounds better than the day I've had, though.
Oh, wow. Maybe that's what I'm doing wrong. I need more support.
Anyway, yeah, no, look, I was going to wait till next week, but I thought it's been a while, so I thought I'd say hello. So, and now that footy season's back, we've all got something to talk about.
And since you have come, we will give you an opportunity just to talk about your favourite highlight from last Saturday.
The goal that Menzel kicked in the pocket because I was standing right there, so that was brilliant. The one in the second quarter.
You were standing in the pocket?
Someone mentioned Menzel.
Yes, I was standing in the pocket. No, I was standing underneath that scoreboard that didn't work, and
Right in front of me.
I love that stupid dude.
I was going to say about Shandog and Bluebell. What are your predictions for the season? Because we got everyone else's last week.
Well, I was just talking about this to some people today at work actually, instead of working very hard. And I think we're going to be pushing top 4, but at the end of the day, if I was to put money on it, I'd say 5th or 6th we'd finish. And it kind of all depends a little bit on us not having any injuries to some of those key tools that we've got now and who are coming through. So I'd like to think that we can pull out 16 wins, but maybe I'm reaching a little. I'm not sure.
Yep.
Dude, I said we're going to win all of them, so 16 is not reaching.
Yeah. Yeah. Busy about
Maybe we
saying
could-
that we're going to kick all the goals and win all the games.
Maybe we can just play 16 and then stop. Win all those.
Yeah, my
all the season.
prediction was we're going to come out and lose to Essendon in round 4 and then go on to win everything else for the rest of the season, but still be upset that we lost to Essendon in round
If we
4.
lose to Essendon, I'm going to punch your face because it'll be your fault.
If we want to make it like 95, we need to lose to someone like St Kilda again.
Yeah.
Kilda in
No!
70.
St Kilda.
I'm sick of losing to St Kilda.
That's terrible.
I know, I can't stand St Kilda.
It's disgusting. They're a pack of pigs.
I can't.
Sorry.
Sweeping declaration.
The St Kilda pigs.
I'm sorry, Bluebell. What's your prediction?
Look, I think we'll finish in the top 8. Again, as Shandog said, I think injuries will play a key part. If we can keep our tools on the field, I think weight is a big X factor. If we can keep him for the majority of the games, although he didn't do much on the weekend, but again, it's a practice match. I just think once he hits full fitness, he's really hard to stop. So, and I think the other thing that will really work to our favour is Hendo and Everett, both as swingmen. And if Watson can hold down a key position, then, anything's possible. So I'm expecting a big year from Murph. I think he'll step up after a fairly disappointing year last year with injuries and whatnot, and Gibbs as well. But, look, I think we'll probably finish between 4th and 8th. I think the top 3, Hawthorn, Freo, Sydney, even Geelong, are pretty hard. One thing I do want this year is I want to bloody beat Hawthorn because it's been so long. And
Absolutely.
Given we have our 150th dinner the night after we play them, I just want it to be a happy evening with a win.
We play at the MCG this year, don't we?
Yeah, on that Friday night.
Yeah.
And then we've got the 150th dinner. So it'll be nice. I'm actually going to that. So it'll be nice to go, and we've had a win over Hawthorn, who I think the last time we beat was 05, if I remember correctly. So.
I think we beat them more recently than that, from memory.
They're about 11 in a row against us.
Yeah.
I think it's about 05, and I think it was when Wake kicked about 5 that night. So anyway, I'm happy to be corrected, but I think that was how long it was. We nearly beat them when Fev hit the post.
Oh, that was forever burned into my consciousness.
I hated being there. That was just absolutely woeful. Yeah. Sitting in the members section up the other end of the ground where it looked like it was going through from where we were sitting.
No, well, I was actually behind the goals, and trust it wasn't good.
Yeah, just bad times. No matter where you were sitting, you could sit in the car park, and that sucked.
I was overseas watching that live, and it was even worse there.
Let's do one last prediction before we close off. Who's going
general or Carlton related?
Carlton related.
Yeah.
Who's going to win our best and fairest?
I know who won't win it.
Who?
Eddie Betts.
It's a good question. There's nobody's screaming out with the answers here.
Yeah.
I reckon Bryce Gibbs will get it.
I hope you're right.
That'd be good.
Right.
Bryce Gibbs, he'll either get it or he'll come close and finish second, and Andrew Walker will get it if Bryce Gibbs doesn't.
I was actually leaning Murphy or Gibbs, so it's not a bad guess there. I first thought Murph, but then I started thinking it's probably about time Gibbs stepped up, and he's going to be.
I hope he does.
He's going to be permanently in the midfield, and he's got that wicked new look. So
that's stupid.
I couldn't even recognise him last week. I thought it was Menzel.
Yeah, I kept getting him and Menzel confused
Yeah, he
on
looks
TV.
ridiculous. No man has ever looked attractive in a headband.
I
think.
Sorry.
I was going to say, I think you can pretty much raffle it this year, unless someone just comes up and then blows everyone away. You've got people that we can sort of go, yeah, we know Gibbs is going to have a great year, and you never know what Dale Thomas is going to produce as well. Hopefully Murph is going to have a better one compared to last year after his injuries are all fixed up, but I think you could really raffle it.
Dale Thomas would be a funny one if he came
I'd
out
rather
our best.
Yeah,
I'd rather Gibbs, but it'd be funny. Like we'd be like, while he's getting the medal, we'd be going like, oh yeah, look how bad that ankle was. Like,
I'd want him to collect on crutches though.
It's interesting though. We've had a few instances where we had Corey McKernan win a BNF after he crossed from North. We had David Teague, Chris Judd won the BNF as soon as he crossed. It's stranger things have happened.
Yeah,
I could have won the BNF that year Juddy came.
Sorry?
We weren't particularly... I could have won the BNF the year that Juddy came over to us. So.
Yeah. I just think, like... I know I shouldn't really say this because he does wear navy blue now, but I would just find it hard to swallow Daisy winning a best and fairest for 4
yeah.
years.
Yeah.
Happy Dude just went somewhere completely different.
I'm right here.
You are a child, Happy Dude.
Oh,
I think I'm the
pressuring
youngest
myself.
one on the podcast, so yes.
I'm impressed with myself that I didn't get that straight away.
Well, it looked like Happy Dude's off to the naughty corner, so we're going to wrap it up for the night, folks. I'd like to say a big thank you to MEB for coming in, Meb.
Thanks.
And,
Bye. Go Blues.
and I'm leaving Happy Dude for last because he's a bad boy. Thanks very much to Shandog for coming in. It was great to have you here, and we hope we'll have you back.
Thank you. I hope I haven't disgraced myself. I will come back.
No, not in this company, mate. You won't disgrace yourself.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Thank you to Bluebell for coming in and gracing us with her presence.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Happy Dude.
One last Wookie update. He's being led away in handcuffs,
Yep.
and the police don't know why he bothered bringing down his own set.
The pink diamond encrusted one.
Boom, boom.
And what the hell is he going to do with that gimp mask? But anyway.
Oh.
On that note.
Sweet dreams, man.
No, why?
And as you can tell, Wookie...
You have to put that at the start.
As you can tell, Wookie, absolutely no thanks to you tonight, mate. You've just disgraced yourself. See you next week.
Yeah, we just need to pick a song.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Hey.
Bye.